I do like it as browned as possible. Okay, so what I do is, it looks really good. It fits perfectly in this hole.
Oh my God.
It's gonna melt in the heat.
Yeah.
Just sandwich it.
I love that. Okay,
Cheers. This was actually an important exercise for us because the brownie that I developed for this recipe, we wanted it to really taste like s'mores. So I like the brownie because it's me doctoring each layer to balance each other a little more than these raw ingredients would. With that said, we leave the graham cracker as it is, we leave the marshmallows as they are, they toast in the oven, but the chocolate is always the part that needs a little work. So my brownie is very well seasoned, pretty salted. It uses a darker chocolate with the option of doing milk if you would like more of a nostalgic flavor. These are better than real s'mores in my opinion. So at the end of the day, this is a brownie. One thing that was really fun to sort of figure out was where exactly the graham cracker component is gonna be. The honey graham crackers are, in my opinion, the most delicious. Butter your pan, line it with parchment, and also maybe even butter that parchment. And the buttering of the parchment, it's not necessarily for this sticking. Our brownies aren't gonna stick to the parchment at all. It's actually to season and flavor the graham cracker a little bit. So you're just lining it up like this, like a game of Tetris. Oh, wow, that's satisfying. So that's technically it's like more coverage. What I'm actually gonna do is, I'm just gonna crush over the rest. And I found that this sort of like, fills in some holes. There was something about this crust that really worked. The graham cracker layer is here. It's gonna sort of like interact with the butter below it as it bakes. There are many, many, many ways to melt chocolate. This is showing you the longer way, but the correct way. I'm your teacher now. Taking a heat-proof bowl, whether it's a metal bowl or a glass bowl, putting it over a little bit of water. The water should not be touching the bottom of the bowl. You only need like an inch of water, really. And this is now like gonna melt the chocolate gently. This is a bar of chocolate, 4 ounces usually. If your chocolate bar is only like 3.5 ounces or something, totally fine. Again, you can use milk chocolate if you want that more nostalgic taste. I really like this with dark chocolate and the amount of salt that I'm gonna use. And I'm not browning the butter or anything. Speaking of which, you wanna melt the butter in here with this. The rest of the stick, right? 7 tablespoons, basically. You end up with like a really mature dessert. It is a s'mores brownie, but it's just for your adult self. We're really just trying to melt the chocolate. Look how shiny it is. The butter is also providing fat, right? Melting them together makes a lot of sense. It's just less likely that you're gonna scorch it. Having all that fat is really helping. So we have like a few lumps here. I'm actually gonna remove it now because I know the residual heat is going to continue to cook it. And watch out, this is pretty hot, so you wanna just be careful. Don't let the steam like hurt you. Here's the other reason why I called for a large bowl over a double boiler. We're gonna finish the brownie batter here. When the lumps are all gone is when you can continue. See how shiny that is? You like that sound? This bowl is really hot, the chocolate's still really hot. My brownies always have a really big proportion of molassesy brown sugar. This brown sugar is also cooling down the chocolate a little bit because we don't want to add cold eggs to like hot chocolate. You want to get rid of the lumps, but the lumps will come out also during the other stages. Half a teaspoon of coarse kosher salt. This is such a small amount of brownie batter that the salt kind of matters. This is nice and smooth. I think if I mixed it more, actually, it would probably separate, so I should stop. The bowl is no longer hot to the touch, it's warm. If I'm really worried, I'll add the vanilla now, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. And again, that's gonna cool it down even more, right? But the vanilla, you do wanna add it when it's not too hot because you don't want the alcohol to like evaporate. First egg going in. And what I do is I just whisk it right away. It's gonna look grainy and a little messy at first, but as you keep whisking, it's gonna really thicken. Goal is to not mix it too much, but it's not a big deal. You're just whisking it until it's all combined. I'll probably stop here. There is such a thing as undermixing, so just watch out for that. I'm doing this because I want to finish with the spatula. Fold the flour in. Folding is very not intuitive, I feel. Okay, that's good. And I'm going to pour this batter into here in a very unnatural way, because this is food TV. No one does this in real life. Let gravity do its thing. There's some graham cracker kind of poking out, but that's okay. The base of this recipe, the brownie base, it's really inspired by a lot of research I did on brownies. And I kind of found my dream brownie, and the Times actually has it published. It's by this amazing chocolate writer, Alice Medrick. Her brownie is just perfect. There's no leavener, it's this kind of dream brownie, in my opinion. After baking it at 400, she shocks the pan in an ice bath. We're gonna get the same effect by refrigerating these, but I need to credit Alice Medrick. Take the marshmallows. Some people really like to make a design. I'm gonna show you a different way. It's a little haphazard, but I find that it prevents me from overthinking. I do want some of them standing upright though. So those are the ones I'll plant. And you want them a little spread apart because as these bake, they're gonna get very, very poofy. 6 ounces, which is usually about half a bag. I mean, if I'm at home, I'm usually just tumbling them in, but when it bakes, it's gonna be gorgeous no matter what. You're just gonna bake this at 400 for about 15 to 20 minutes, and you're waiting for the marshmallow layer to look like toasted marshmallow. They're gonna get really poofy, and then they're gonna start browning. And in the time that takes, the brownie batter will have cooked enough. You're not looking for it to come out clean. If it comes out clean, it's a little overbaked. But this is perfect. I'm going to let this cool completely before I unmold it and slice it. This is the brownie that's still warm. It came out of the oven maybe I don't know, 20, 30 minutes ago. Listen to this, I like this. I always like to do that to just show you, the marshmallow's crispy. It's kind of nice that it's warm. It's just so cozy. It's a cozy treat. The joy of it is that you can have it at any temperature, really. I personally love it cold, and it's been chilling in the refrigerator. If you chill a dessert, the sweetness is a little muted. How satisfying. The crust, it stays crispy. I like cutting them into bars like this and keeping them in an airtight container in the refrigerator. It also really reminds me of a grown-up version of those s'mores Pop-Tarts, which I really like. The graham cracker's really nice too. Tell me in the comments how you like to eat these. Do you like them warm or do you like them cold? I'm proud that this is my brownie debut to the world. For this recipe and many more. And we actually have a lot of s'mores recipes on NYT Cooking. S'mores are timeless, don't you think? Anyway, for that, go to nytcooking.com. Thanks for watching.